Well, Eagle Nation, the Birds had one of their craziest practices yet of camp today as they jointed with the New England Patriots ahead of their preseason game. We have probably one of the best plays I've seen yet of training camp, some interesting developments, and one Eagles rookie has finally returned. We'll talk about what it means and a whole bunch more, but welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like this video if you do enjoy the content, and be sure to subscribe and ring that bell down below as we keep you up to date every single day. Now, as you can probably see, this is a different backdrop, different setting. I have a makeshift setup. I've already had to record this video once and it messed up, so bear with me. Hopefully all of that stuff goes well. I'm currently on vacation in the Outer Banks, but the Eagles have a joint practice. We have content. The grind never stops, so appreciate everybody tapping in, and let's go ahead and jump right into this. So, practice today was absolutely crazy. It was intense, and it started off even before the practice as Patriot fans were chirping at Nick Sirianni. This is a way to get your freaking coach motivated. They said, hey, Nick, Bill is going to take your job next year. We remember all the rumblings and reports about Bill Belichick and, you know, how Jeff Lurie and them wanted to potentially explore hiring Bill Belichick. That's how you fire up Nick Sirianni. You're like, hey, if you don't start off good this year, our old coach who won us all these Super Bowls is going to take your job. You're going to be fired, Nick. I hope Nick takes this in and really, you know, uses it as motivation. Like, nobody's job is safe. Everybody at any time could be on the hot seat. And yeah, man, things started off on a very chippy note and they continued throughout practice. And the Eagles got one of their young players back, one of the rookies with a lot of hype in this draft in Cooper DeJean. Obviously had that injury in training camp and nobody really knew, right? Like, what's going to happen with Cooper DeJean? Is he going to come back before the season? Is he not going to come back? Is he going to play it all this year? I think the Eagles have a lot more, not controversy, but just competition and a lot more interesting storyline when it comes to the secondary and even the front four. So they're going to need more bodies. They're going to need guys to step up. If Cooper DeJean can come back and make an impact and at least get back on the field and get into game shape, I think he can kind of close that gap a bit because he's probably, you know, a couple weeks behind some of these other players. So glad to see DeJean back. He had the pads on today, and hopefully the Swiss Army knife can find a way to get going here and get some reps with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we do have some clips. We have some things like that, and we actually had some A to Z reporters there today, so we will show you some of the footage. But one of them actually got to talk with Cooper DeJean, and this is the video, so I just want to play it real quick, and we can get his thoughts on his injury and the setback and things like that.
I guess it was like hamstring strain.
Yeah, I was pretty upset. Obviously I wasn't able to start my first NFL camp. But rehab's been good. Trainers are doing a great job. Helping me get back. We don't want to rush something like this. It's a long season. But rehab's been going well.
How did it happen?
I was just training back home during the off season, back at Iowa.
Is there a lot to catch up on, you think?
So Cooper DeJean says he was training back home and then unfortunately sustained an injury, but very excited to get back going and onto the field. Now, speaking of on the field, today we got to see a lot more looks, a lot more of, I would say, development in terms of the Eagles offense. We know they're not going to reveal their cards. They're not going to show their hand in these preseason games. And that's why, honestly, I did not even care about the preseason game the other night. Interesting finish. But other than that, you're not going to see much. I actually like these joint practices a lot more than the preseason games because, one, you get to see some of this networking going on, right? You see coaches and GMs and things like that actually talking to these teams. A lot of people have brought up the name Matt Judon. What do you think, Eagle Nation? Should they go out and try to get Judon? I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to see him up close and maybe, establish a closer connection and relationship and say, hey, maybe we have this that could work for you. And, you have this piece that could work for us. So this stuff does happen for sure. And it very much does happen at these, training camps and joint practices and things like that. So I'm excited about that for sure. But today we got to see a lot more from the Eagles offense as Kellen Moore, Zach Berman puts it, had the most Kellen Moore-ish day of the summer. Different packages, more motion, seeing adjustments at the line. Again, it's still more of a vanilla offense at this point, but I think Jalen Hurts is getting a lot more comfortable with his coordinator. And for a guy who's had a lot of turnover at that position, I think this is probably the healthiest that it's looked so far. And when we talk about Jalen Hurts, he had yet another splendid day at camp. He's been locked in. He looks like he's returning more to that MVP form. I know it's just camp. We're not in game situations yet, but going into last year, you could just see something was off. There was no connection. They did not trust in the philosophy. And by the time it got to week 12, 13, 14, they literally gave up. So you needed to bring the right type of archetype in here, the right mindset for Jalen Hurts. And so far, he just seems way more comfortable in everything that he's doing, whether it's running out of the pocket or finding his receivers early. Whatever it is, Jalen Hurts just seems to be locked in right now, and he's clicking on all cylinders, and I absolutely love it. But one of the guys that has been super locked in on the offensive side is DeVonta Smith, and here's the play of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that stop by DeVonta Smith. And by the way, this is against a former first-round pick. What a play. If you put DeVonta Smith on any other team in the NFL, if you put him with any other wide receiver group, he is by far the number one, in my opinion. And obviously, we realize that, we recognize it, but sometimes we forget. AJ and DeVonta have great personalities. They don't have egos. They're humble. And I'm glad they had that relationship. But there is absolutely no way that any other defense should be able to game plan against DeVonta and AJ. They are on that level. They are that good. And then when you start to throw in Saquon and Dallas Goedert and what Jalen Hurts can do with his legs as well, there's just no way the Eagles should not be able to put up 28 points per game or 30 points per game at one point. They are that good. DeVonta is that good. And these guys are still in their mid-20s, early 20s. They are only going to get better. And I just love the developments. DeVonta, he's just having a sneaky good camp. Nobody really talks about it. Every day they say DeVonta made a good play here and a good catch there. He's Mr. Automatic. He doesn't miss, man. DeVonta every day shows up. Here's another angle of that route. Just a beautiful play against a pretty solid cornerback. He really made him look like a fool, man. So shout out to these guys. And before we get over to the final defensive side of the ball and stuff, we'll take a look at a little clip reel. And this is from our A to Z people. It's also up on YouTube, so you can check it out. But just a few things from today. I love when we get this type of footage. We have Jalen Hurts running in and, some of these other guys coming in and hanging out. There's Saquon. It's a little hard for me to see on this makeshift setup. So again, hopefully you guys can see it and hopefully everything pans out because little bit different for me. We got Goddard. We have DeVonta. These guys, man, they look confident. They look a lot more solidified at this point than they did last year. It's tough losing your coordinators. It's tough bringing in new philosophies and new systems, but the vibes are high right now, man. I'm enjoying it. There's Jalen dancing. We have a nice throw from Jalen downfield. Beautiful, right in the breadbasket. It's too easy. Another great route. I think that is DeVonta. Can't really see that well. And then here's a slant route. There's AJ. They got to do that a lot on first down this year. And then here's one more time the DeVonta play. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. All right, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Bryce Huff with a sack of Jacoby Brissett. Good to hear his name called. Vic Fangio has challenged him, and right now there's this whole Hassan Reddick thing going on. Now he wants to get traded from the Jets. By the way, Howie's got a chance to do something really funny. I know it's not going to happen, but could you imagine if he traded back for Hassan Reddick? That would literally shatter history. It would be insane. But good to see Bryce Huff getting his name in there a little bit. And then Nolan Smith also had a sack today as well. Big day for the defense. A lot of chippiness, a lot of smack talk going on. But these guys are still fighting for potential starting spots. I think we know where we're at on offense, but defense is a whole different story. And right here, I think, is the number one winner of the day and maybe one of the top 5 winners of camp so far. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. coming into that linebacker core. Still a lot of uncertainty. He has been in here making plays every single day. Today, he had an INT against the Pats' first-team offense. He jumped a route. He picked Jacoby Brissett. Couple big plays in the preseason game. He had a couple big tackles. He is making his name known. I'm not saying he's going to start, but right now, he has to be one of the winners of camp because he continues to make plays, and you never know where that is going to get you, right? Obviously, your father was such a great player, but you're different. Like, you're your own player. he knows he's got to work hard for it. And I just got to tip my cap to Trot because right now he's making plays, man. Lastly, Kelee Ringo breaks up a touchdown in the end zone. CJ Gardner-Johnson not practicing today, ran up to celebrate with him. I think we're starting to see what Vic Fangio talked about one guy separating themselves, right? It's between him and Isaiah Rodgers, maybe Avonte Maddox. Right now, Kelee Ringo seems to be the number one guy at that CB2 position, and I just love his ball hawking skills. I love his intensity, just the way he plays the position, the way we saw him break up a couple big plays in that preseason game. It seems like it's Kelee Ringo's job to lose right now, and he just continues to get better each and every day. He's got that bulldog mentality. So I can't wait to see what happens, but a big, big day from the Philadelphia Eagles. Some great footage and clips today, and I guess we'll see where that takes us moving forward as we try to finalize a couple of those positions. But appreciate everybody tapping in. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel.
On BetMGM Casino, there are so many jackpots that you never know when one will go. So many jackpots. So many jackpots. BetMGM Casino. Jackpots. So many.
Download to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 on the house. BetMGM Casino.